past week? Did you forget a password that you've used 100 times? Or maybe did you walk into a room and suddenly forget why you were there? Or maybe you met someone for the first time, you had a full conversation with them, walked away, and realized that you completely forgot their name. Now, I'm sure that this has happened to most of us. Those little moments in life and those little moments of forgetting that make life just feel a little bit more chaotic. Now, you know what would be really awkward? If I completely forget my entire speech right now. But luckily, I think I've done a few things to make sure that does not happen today. And that's exactly what I'm here to talk about. Why forgetting is actually a feature of our memories and not a bug. Now, consider some research studies that have been published very recently that show after just a single day, you can forget up to 50% of new information you've learned. And this is for information that has not been reinforced. This is for new information that you've learned within that day, and you lose up to 50% of it after just a single day. And this number goes up to 70 to 80% after a full month. So this is actually shocking. Like, how can we forget so much? How can we forget so much information so quickly? And to answer this question, think of your brain more like an active editor rather than a passive hard drive. Because most of the information that you receive every day ends up getting filtered out and eventually forgotten, if not permanently forgotten. And this makes sense, because imagine if you remembered everything. Imagine if you remembered every single reel you've ever scrolled past, every single typo in your texts, and every single cough in the background. Your brain would be completely overwhelmed with all of this unnecessary information that it quite frankly does not need. And so forgetting protects us from that kind of overwhelming feeling you would get otherwise. And what this also shows us is that forgetting is a way to prioritize the information in our mind. And this actually relates a lot to a new topic, a new concept that researchers in artificial intelligence have been exploring recently. And this concept is called machine unlearning. So, like this name suggests, machine unlearning, it's all about choosing specific information and intentionally forgetting it. So this is actually quite the opposite to what you've heard maybe before about how we train AI models, because generally the focus is how to train on more data. So an example of when we would need this concept, machine unlearning, for example, if you have a self-driving car AI system or AI model, and you are training it on how to be a self-driving car, then we would need to use machine unlearning, because if we train the model on AI and on data that is very outdated and it is not up to date, then this could be potentially dangerous and catastrophic, because it may be making decisions that are based on outdated road patterns, and this could be potentially life-threatening. And what's interesting is that our brain does this naturally. It has this inbuilt function of unlearning and of removing information that we no longer need, that is no longer applicable, and that is just unnecessary. So you may think to yourself that it would be incredible if you could just have the inability to forget, if you could remember everything. In fact, this is actually quite wrong, because there has been research done, and there is a condition where patients are unable to forget certain memories. And as it turns out, they actually have a lot of severe negative consequences on their mental and emotional health, because it becomes overwhelming and they are unable to get rid of certain memories. So what this goes to show is that we need to forget so that we can overcome those significant emotional and cognitive consequences. So forgetting is a very important feature. So the next time that you walk into a room and you forget what you're doing, or the next time that you forget your password, just remember that this is a completely normal way, and your brain is supposed to be working this way. And even now, as I speak, your brain is making split-second decisions, whether it should keep what I'm saying or discard it and just get rid of it completely. And ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, forgetting is what makes remembering truly powerful. Thank you.